Hey everybody, Nick Espinosa, your chief security fanatic here. And guess who's back? Back again. That's right, TikTok's back. Don't tell your friends. So, let's get started with this because I'm not a fan at all. China's largest surveillance app is back on the market. Now, basically, Wired had a really good write-up on this, and let's talk about this because 26 days after it was banned from US app stores, aka App Store for Apple and Google Play for Android, TikTok has returned. Now, Apple and Google brought back the Chinese-owned video app after receiving a letter from the new U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi, that essentially assured the two companies that they would not be fined for hosting it. Now, Google confirmed to Wired as well as Bloomberg that basically they brought TikTok back. They did not elaborate on that reason. Apple, TikTok, and the Department of Justice also did not respond to requests for this. If you recall, the new Attorney General, Pam Bondi, was sworn in last week. So, if you also recall, TikTok disappeared from the app stores on January 19th nationwide, and that was hours before the ban went into effect. This was essentially the last day of President Biden's, last full day, I should say, of President Biden's term. The day after that, the January 20th, was when then President-elect, now President Trump, was sworn in. And so that essentially was when that ban was going to be taking place. And so the app stores pulled it just hours before that. Now, it essentially came back to life later that Sunday. I remember that because I had posted a whole bunch of, ding dong, the witch is dead, kind of things about TikTok, and then only to have it come back, which really sucked. And so TikTok, for the record, that day, their executives received their own assurances from then President-elect Donald Trump, again sworn in the next day, that he would essentially provide more time for a resolution. Now, if you already had the app on your phone, it was functioning normally that by that afternoon as well. So essentially, it was kind of like a very short outage window, and TikTok came back to life. Again, the soon-to-be president, now president, basically saying, yeah, no, you can come on back. Now, after Trump was sworn in on January 20th and become President Trump, one of his first executive orders was to give TikTok a reprieve. Now, the executive order that President Trump issued, and I quote, "I am instructing the Attorney General not to take any action to enforce the act for a period of 75 days from today to allow my administration an opportunity to determine the appropriate course forward," end quote. So, Apple and Google continue to keep TikTok, though, out of the marketplace, meaning that new users that wanted to install it couldn't. So, that's a good thing, but here we are. Now, the reason why they kept this off is because if you didn't know, there is a law in the United States that goes by PFACA. Yes, we love our acronyms, and that is the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act. It's an act of Congress that says that American tech companies can't, quote, distribute, maintain, or update, end quote, any apps from ByteDance, which is the parent company of TikTok. ByteDance, originally ByteDance Beijing, obviously out of Beijing, China. So, those basically that would continue to host it, meaning if, let's say, Google or Apple did, would face fines under PFACA. So that meant that not just TikTok, but a dozen or so apps, including other apps that were popular from ByteDance, like Lemon 8, CapCut, and Marvel Snap, were all unavailable to download for the same time period as well. They also returned this past Thursday to the respective App Store, Play Store, etc., etc. So, while TikTok was unavailable, users searching for it on the iOS store were actually greeted, the App Store for Apple was greeted by the following message, and I quote, "TikTok and other ByteDance apps are not available in the country or region you're in," end quote. And yep, that's what it is. Go to Canada to get it, I guess. Now, a quote-unquote learn more link sent users to a long article explaining why the app was gone and a reminder why they wouldn't receive any updates for as long as the ban was in place. On top of it, and on the other side, Google Play Store said, and I quote, "Downloads for this app are paused due to current U.S. legal requirements." So, searchers were then directed to competition, in other words, competitive apps to TikTok, and there you go. We saw a bump in usage, etc., etc. Now, PFACA also allows the president to extend the deadline for banning TikTok by 90 days if he certifies to Congress that, quote, significant progress has been made towards a deal to sell the app to a non-Chinese company. And right before taking office, then President-elect Trump proposed that the U.S. could have a 50% ownership of TikTok without specifically understanding what he meant. He did not elaborate on that. So the president reportedly then tapped Vice President J.D. Vance to lead the negotiations between ByteDance and potential buyers. Now, one reported scenario involved Oracle and a group of other investors taking control of the platform, a few other bidders, and for the record, TikTok houses their infrastructure on Oracle here in the United States. They replicate it to Singapore. I've done videos on that too. That's a whole other thing. So a few other bidders emerged before Trump took office, including billionaires Frank McCourt and reportedly AI startup Perplexity, but ByteDance hasn't publicly said if it's willing to make a deal at all. TikTok's parent company also may want to retain the TikTok algorithm in event of an eventual sale, and it's not necessarily clear what TikTok would look like without that algorithm. That algorithm is highly advanced, and quite frankly, as much as I hate the app, it is really good at pushing whatever you need to push in front of users based on users' preferences, searches, etc., etc. So there you go. Now, also on Thursday, President Trump told reporters in televised remarks that he expects the deal process to conclude before his 75-day reprieve expires in April, but he was also open to extending the deadline. Quote, "We have a lot of people interested in TikTok, and I hope to be able to make a deal. We'll probably have to get approval from China to do it, but it's to their benefit too," end quote. So, by virtue of that, PFACA remains on the books and still requires TikTok to be banned if the company is unable to divest from ByteDance by the time the extension runs out, or if President Trump extends it again, obviously saying that he's made quote-unquote significant progress as he asserts that to Congress. So here we are. So Republican senators, meaning those in President Trump's party, had previously spoken out against extending the deadlines for the app, and I completely agree against extending that deadline as well. So Senators Tom Cotton of Arkansas and Pete Ricketts of Nebraska said in a statement in January, quote, "Now that the law has taken effect, there's no legal basis for any kind of extension of its effective date." Now they've been essentially silent on the matter now that President Trump is indeed President Trump and no longer president-elect. So we're going to see where this goes. I'm obviously not a fan of this. Like I said, it's a massive data mining app. It's a surveillance app. I've done video after video, podcast after podcast, radio segment after radio segment on it, and I'm just hoping this thing goes away. And so I'm really hoping that President Trump does not extend the deadlines. I'm hoping that it either dies or if it is sold off, to a U.S.-based company, that all of the any kind of surveillance apps or probing that it has baked into its coding can be stripped out and essentially gotten rid of. That said, social media is going to data mine, right? And I'd rather be data mined in a country where I have legal recourse than trying to sue ByteDance in Beijing, China. So take that for what it's worth, but TikTok is back again. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. I do not have a TikTok account, never will. You can also follow me on YouTube, now on also Blue Sky and Mastodon. And as always, stay safe, stay online, please attempt to stay private, and please, please, please get good information. Take care.